Next to the stage will be head coach Kevin McGuff from The Ohio State University, who's had a brilliant career, 2 Big Ten titles, 4 NCAA tournament appearances, and 2 Sweet 16 appearances. So, Coach McGuff, welcome to the stage.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioner Warren, for the warm introduction, and thank you to everyone at the Big Ten for putting this together. It's a great event, and I'm really happy to be here. And I'll start by saying I'm really excited about our team and what I think we can accomplish this year. And we returned some really key members off last year's team. I think kind of our strength will be our backcourt, with Madison Green returning as point guard. J.C. Sheldon off the ball will be a big part of what the team that we're gonna be this year. It's been certainly a different year this year, past COVID sort of, and our team has certainly enjoyed more of an opportunity to be together this summer and certainly this fall, and I think we're definitely further ahead than we were a year ago, and I'm excited to get started. Thank you.
We'll now open it up to questions.
Kevin, Adam Jardy with the Columbus Dispatch off to your left here.
Okay.
Wanted to ask you about JC and maybe the way her taking a step forward as a sophomore. If you could expand a little bit on what you see her continuing to grow and what you think this season might look like for her.
Yeah, no, she's an incredible player, and she's an exceptional athlete who really plays well in our system. We've traditionally had one of the faster teams in the country, and that really plays to her strengths. She's got great speed and quickness. She's really, thus far this year improved, I think, on the defensive end as much as anything. And I think she'll take a big step there. But I expect her to have, an outstanding season and be one of the best players in the Big Ten.
Mick Walker, Buckeyes Tom. Thank you for talking to us. I just want to ask you about how Ohio heavy your roster is and how you've made that an effort to build up the program with Ohio and local talent.
Yeah, Ohio's a great state for grassroots basketball, AAU, and high school, and so certainly that's been a huge priority for me and for our staff to make sure we can keep as many Ohio players home as possible. And we haven't kept them all home, but I think we've got the right ones for our program, and we will certainly go to other areas to recruit the right student athletes to be a part of our program. But as much as we can keep Ohio kids home, that's certainly something that we want to do.
Oh, right up front.
Hey, Coach, Steve Hellwagon, 24/7 Sports. Obviously, the postseason wasn't in play for you guys last year. I don't know if you've spoken about that or how it seemed unfair that the people who were penalized were the kids who had nothing to do with any of the situation that was involved. But I guess maybe whatever your final thought was about that episode, and then spinning forward, what it means to have that for a team that could be there this year, I suppose.
Yeah, no, that was a very difficult situation for our kids and for our program. Our kids had worked incredibly hard to put themselves in position to, have a chance to be in postseason, and it wasn't on the table for us. And, as an institution, we had to make difficult decisions, and I think we made the right decision, but it was really tough on our kids. And I think the success that we had last year, given that we didn't have the opportunity to go to postseason, really speaks to the character of our kids. They certainly could have mailed the season in, but we had a very successful season. We won a lot of games and really had a terrific year, and that speaks volumes to our players' character. Now it is terrific that we've put that behind us, hopefully, and would have an opportunity to be in postseason this year if we were to have the season where we earn that. But that is certainly a goal for us and something that we're going to work incredibly hard to hopefully be a part of.
In the back.
Kevin, Steve Strimming, XL Sports, the Advanced Sports Network. Kevin, not only are you trying to bring Ohio students, athletes into your program, but you've been instrumental in bringing a lot of international kids into Columbus and the Big Ten. Talk a little bit about that for the people that don't know anything about that.
Yeah, great question. We have certainly kind of ventured into the international market in terms of adding players from overseas to our roster, and we've had great success with that. And really, it started as USA Basketball sort of expanded and started to send more teams overseas, and we were going to watch kids from the United States play. We said, hey, we're going over to these tournaments. We might as well kind of expand our recruiting efforts and look internationally. And there's more players from overseas coming to the United States to play than there ever has been before. And so we've worked harder at that in the last few years, and we've been able to add some really talented players. And so that's been, it'll never be kind of like at the forefront of who we are as a program and the kids that we're going to recruit, but certainly as kind of a secondary market for us, it's been really instrumental in us continuing to grow the program.
Kevin, I wonder if you could speak about the impact of name, image, and likeness on your program and how you've approached that with some of your players, and if you've seen some benefits from that already.
Yeah, that's obviously it's a new world for all of us in that space, and we have had some success. Some of our players have had some NIL deals that have been very good to them, and I think we're in a great position at The Ohio State University with the city of Columbus, which is obviously a great market for this, in a city that really supports not only Ohio State, but they support women's athletics, and we have a lot of powerful female business owners in the city who are ready to get behind some of this stuff, and so we've had a lot of good opportunities for our kids so far, and I think that's going to only continue to expand.
Right up front.
Yeah, Coach, you have a bit of a void at the center position. How do you see that shaking out this year? You've got a couple of veteran-type players coming back, but just what do you see, I guess?
We had in the last couple of years, we've had incredible depth around the basket with our posts, and we're a little bit not quite as deep in that position. But I will tell you, Rebecca Michalakakova and Tanea Beecham have both had outstanding off seasons, and I think they're going to have really embrace the opportunity to step up with more playing time and more opportunity. And so I think you guys will really be impressed with kind of where they are and what they bring to the program this year.
Thank you so much for your time this morning, Coach. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Go Bucks.
Kevin McGuff touching on just how proud he was of his team last year for finishing 13-7 overall, 9 wins inside the Big Ten, even without that postseason carrot to dangle. A couple of important losses, but adds that transfer Taylor Mikesell from Maryland, again going a little bit outside the beaten path. You're hearing some of those international names that are playing a big role for Ohio State this year, looking for even bigger things in 2021-2022. Back to Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren.
Next to the podium will be Coach Chris Holtmann of the Ohio State University men's basketball program, who will be starting his 5th season in Columbus and has 4 straight 20-win seasons. Coach, welcome to the stage.
All right, guys, great to be with you. Kevin, thank you for that introduction. Big Ten office, thank you for putting this on. It's great to be back with all of you here in person, and we're really excited about the season. You guys contribute so much to our game, the popularity of our game, the energy around each individual game and each individual program. So even when you ask some of those questions I don't always love, it's great to have you guys here and back in person, hopefully for a full season. We're excited about our group and excited about, we've got very much a veteran group. I think our team will be led by guys like Kyle Young and E.J. Liddell and Justin Arns, who are all going into their third, fourth, or fifth season in our program. That continuity is really important. We have some other veteran guys who have had really good Big Ten seasons, like Justice Sewing. I think obviously there are some questions with losing our backcourt, and how will we respond to that? But I'm really excited about some of the potential answers we have in our backcourt there. It's a fun time of the year. It's a really fun time of the year with a lot of anticipation, a lot of excitement. We put together the most challenging non-conference schedule that I've ever played, and I think those will present some real decisions for us here early in the season. It'll determine a lot for us in terms of how tough we are early in the season to manage some of the challenging games we have. But I'm excited about that. I love this league. The depth of the league, as we've mentioned a number of times, is really second to none, and I think that's been established. And I think you'll see this league continue to grow in its depth, and I think it's got a really, really exciting future in terms of men's basketball. So looking forward to getting started, and I'll answer questions.
Right here.
Chris, Adam Jardy with the Columbus Dispatch off to your left. You mentioned the fact you have a veteran team. A lot of teams have veteran teams because of they getting the extra year of eligibility this year. What's the key in your mind to having a veteran team but turning that into success?
Well, health is so important, and obviously, Adam, I think that was a really critical factor for us late. We had an older group last year, but we had some of those older guys sitting next to me. And we really need to be healthy, particularly towards the end of the season. A lot of coaches are going to talk about their depth and their experience up here as they come through here because of the super seniors and the addition of transfers. A lot of teams have older teams. I think role definition and how that all gets figured out, what chemistry, we had really good chemistry last year. It doesn't mean we'll have really good chemistry this year. That'll get determined as we go through difficult things together. So we'll see. I think the value of having guys that have been through the battles of the Big Ten should provide dividends, but we certainly need those guys healthy.
Up front.
Yeah, Coach. Steve Hellwagen, 24/7 Sports. Looking at the two guards that you brought in, Cedric Russell, Jamari Wheeler, just your thoughts about what they've accomplished or what their assimilation has been with your program, and maybe even Joey Brunk as well from Indiana, just the new guys that you brought in from that regard.
Yeah, Steve, those guys have been good for us. Jamari's one of these kids that is an everyday guy. You want him next to you anytime you're competing and doing anything. And he's really helped us. He brings a lot of juice to practice every day. He's been really good for us. I think Joey is a guy, as you know, who came from a really good program in Indiana and had success on their team that was going to be certainly a tournament team. So Cedric's, I think, finding his way. I think anytime you kind of jump up a level, it takes you time to find your way. He's in the process of doing that. We're only 6 practices in right now.
Right over there.
Hi, Coach. Brendan Gulick, Buckeyes Now and Sports Illustrated. I think there's this negative connotation around all of the challenges that COVID presented. But now that you've had a little opportunity to kind of reflect on everything you guys went through last year, how did the 2020-2021 season make you a better coach, and how did it make your program stronger?
You know what I think it did as much as anything, Brendan, is it made you, as much as possible, be more aware of the overall health of your players, not just the physical health. So you could really see guys who were struggling with whatever it was. Just the grind of the season, not playing in front of fans, the daily testing. College kids don't always love to get up and get a test at 7:30 in the morning every day. It's just kind of not one of their favorite things. So when you do that 6 days a week, that can take a toll. It was important. I'm glad our league did it. But I think as much as anything, it made you just aware that, in some cases, your kids go through a lot of things that maybe you can be oblivious to. And I think we tried to be really, as a staff, in touch as much as possible with what they were going through.
Right up front.
Chris, with the changes to the transfer portal and the transfer rules and such, there's been a lot of coming and going on everyone's rosters. And what do you think was the biggest impact of that last year, and how are you going to deal with all of that coming and going forward?
Well, you know, for those of us that know, like the transfer thing has went on for a number of years, and you know, Tom Izzo and I have had a lot of conversations, and I've probably done more listening than talking, which happens a lot of times when we have conversations. And I understand kind of the perspective on both sides of this thing, but it's certainly here to stay. And I do think what it's going to contribute to is teams that are a little bit older, a little bit more experienced. I think you'll see less programs recruit freshmen every year. I think you'll see more teams that'll wait until the spring. It does probably allow you to potentially rebuild quicker than maybe what the traditional way used to be for certain programs. So I think all those things are benefits. You know, I think we've had a lot of success both at Butler and at Ohio State with important transfers. A kid like Keyshawn Woods, who came from Wake Forest, really helped us get to the tournament and win a game in year 2. We wouldn't have done it without him. So I think those guys are important, but they also have to be the right fit for your program.
We have time for a few more questions up front.
Hi, Chris. Patrick Murphy with 247 Sports. We talked over the summer about external expectations on your program. I'm just curious, now that you have gotten together with the guys and spent time around them as practices started, how you've seen this group come together and, you know, what kind of expectations you have for handling those expectations outside the program.
Well, you know, I think you want those every year. You want to go in with a level of anticipation. You know, we've been ranked every year. We've been there our 4 years. We've been in the top 20. We've been in the top 10 2 of the years, and we've been a part of the tournament every year. We've been there, and unfortunately experienced an upset last year, but advanced the prior years. I think you just want to continue to build on that. But you know, Patrick, as you know. The focus really has to be on the day-to-day. And I think when you get outside of that, whether you're thinking individually, expectations, we have young men that are really good players that have some individual expectations. And that weight can be pretty heavy if you think about it too much. I think the challenge is really to stay in the moment, enjoy each day, and see where that takes us. I'm excited about this group, but we're not going to get outside of anything other than the day-to-day process.
Our last question from the front corner.
Chris, over here to your, I think it's your left. I don't know.
It's my left. Yeah, that is my left.
Jimmy Watkins from the Omaha World Herald. You mentioned the benefits of the transfer portal, how it's helped you guys out. What about the challenges of turnover and the lack of continuity that it brings as well?
Well, I think you're aware of that more now than ever. I don't know that it might change some of the dialogue and conversation you have throughout the season with players, with parents, with people around the young man. You know, back 10, 15 years ago, that didn't happen a whole lot. It's not going to change how you coach. It shouldn't change how you coach. But it is going to change, I think, the dialogue and the conversation that goes around on the front end and then throughout the process, just to make sure there's open lines of communication. But I think it's something that every coach who stands up here is aware that roster management is one of the greatest things and challenges facing him or her.
Well, thank you so much for your time this morning, Coach. Good luck this season. We will now take another 2-minute break for BTN.
Always a few interesting signs, telltale signs that practice is upon us, like this tweet from Chris Holtmann. Coach's kids came over to help the wives before day 1 of practice. It went great. I think he was referring to the kids, not practice, but we can follow up with Chris afterwards to find out.